What is up? Welcome back to the Unofficial Pre Fight Show. This coming up weekend, we have Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blaydes in London, England. Cheerio. In the main event this weekend, we have two top 10 heavyweights facing off when Curtis Blaydes takes on Tom Aspinall. Two of the more promising fighters in the heavyweight division. Curtis Blaydes has been at the top of the heavyweight division for quite some time now. It's very rare that you hear anybody call this guy out. The reality is he's a tough fight for any heavyweight in the world. Tom Aspinall, on the other hand, is one of the more promising prospects in the UFC heavyweight division. And based on how this guy's looked so far in his UFC career, I think he could potentially be a future UFC champ. Now, Curtis Blaydes is a huge step up for Tom Aspinall, and by far will be the toughest fight to date in his career. He's also going to be the strongest wrestler he's ever faced in his career, and we're really going to kind of see just how good Tom Aspinall's takedown defense is with this fight. We're also going to see how his submission game is off of his back against such a powerful, top-heavy, ground-and-pound specialist like Curtis Blaydes. So this is going to be a real test for him. And I got to be honest, when this fight initially got called, I was leaning towards Curtis Blaydes. But the more I think about it, the more I think the speed of Tom Aspinall is going to play a factor in this fight. And I'm actually now siding with Tom Aspinall. I think his speed, his footwork, and the fact that he's just looked so strong and so well-rounded as a fighter. You know, he's looked sensational on his feet and on the ground. I find it really tough to go against him right now, or pick against him, I should say. So Tom Aspinall is the pick. However, in my opinion, this is a pick 'em fight. You could definitely make a case for either guy to win. The reality is if Curtis Blaydes can consistently score takedowns, utilize his vicious ground and pound, keep Tom Aspinall on his back, it's going to be a long night for Tom. Alternatively to that, if Tom Aspinall can use his speed, use his footwork, and not accept the takedown, if he gets taken down, he's got to constantly threat with submissions off of his back, use that offensive grappling to either get back up to his feet, score a reversal. He can find success. And I think he's going to be able to outland Curtis Blaydes on the feet, ultimately use his speed to his advantage, use his fight IQ to his advantage, and come up with a victory. But this is going to be close. Very hard to predict this one, and I'm not really sure how it's going to play out. So looking forward to it. But the pick is Tom Aspinall. In the co-main event this weekend, we have two middleweights facing off when Jack Hermansson takes on Chris Curtis. Another fight that's going to be very close, and I feel an argument could be made for either fighter to get the win. Hermansson will definitely have the grappling and wrestling advantage. He's going to have to consistently threat with that takedown and his strong clinch game in order to ensure that Chris Curtis never gets in any kind of a rhythm with his striking. Chris Curtis, on the other hand, has looked great so far in his UFC career. He's 3-0 in the organization and has picked up some wins against some pretty respectable middleweights in the UFC so far. He's got some great momentum on his side right now, and I feel like momentum is such an underrated advantage in the fight game. So I am going to go with Chris Curtis in this fight. I think that his takedown defense is going to hold up, and I see Jack Hermansson potentially getting frustrated throughout the fight if he can't consistently take down Chris Curtis, and I could see Jack Hermansson also getting a little bit flustered as the fight goes on. So going to be a close fight, but we're going with Chris Curtis for the win. Next up, we have Paddy the Baddy Pimlett versus Jordan Levitt. This is a lightweight bout. And right now, there's a ton of hype behind Paddy the Baddy. I remember watching him back when he was fighting in Cage Warriors. He's a very talented, entertaining fighter with a wild, medieval peasant haircut. The reality is, Paddy the Baddy is never going to be a ranked fighter in the UFC. But stylistically, I think Jordan Levitt is a great matchup for him. Levitt has very limited, weak striking. Average wrestling. Really, his only strength is his jiu-jitsu game, and I don't see him being able to take Paddy the Baddy down very often. I see Paddy the Baddy being able to light up Levitt on the feet, and a lot of people don't realize this, but Paddy Pimlett is actually known for his grappling throughout his MMA career. The guy's got 9 submission wins within his professional MMA career, and has mostly been known for a grappler. So I don't see Jordan Levitt getting a submission on Pimlett, even if he is able to take down Paddy a couple times throughout the fight. I just think stylistically, it's a bad fight for Jordan Levitt, and a good fight for Paddy the Baddy. So we're going to go with Pimlett on this one, and the hype train's going to continue for a little while for Paddy. Next up, we have two light heavyweights facing off when Nikita Krylov takes on Alexander Gustafsson, two MMA veterans with 60 professional fights combined. Both of these guys are very well-rounded, very durable, and at this stage in Gustafsson's career, it's tough for me to pick him when he's taking on a younger ranked light heavyweight like Nikita Krylov. Anytime a fighter retires and then decides to make a comeback, there's a lot of questions there for me. What's motivating him to come back? Why did he retire in the first place? There's no doubt at one stage in Gustafsson's career, he was one of the best light heavyweights on the planet. And the reality is that this fight was taking place a few years ago, I'd be picking Gustafsson to win all day. But with this fight taking place today, and a guy like Nikita, who is in a must-win situation, he's coming off of 2 consecutive losses against some of the top fighters in the light heavyweight division. I just can't go with Alexander Gustafsson. The main reason here why I'm picking Nikita Krylov to win this fight is I just don't know what Gustafsson is going to show up. And the fact that he's been inactive over the last couple of years, the fact that I don't know what's motivating him to make this comeback, it feels like his best days are behind him. All that just doesn't sit well with me. So Nikita Krylov is the pick. The last fight we're going to review on today's show is a light heavyweight bout between Paul Craig and Volkan Ozdemir. This is that classic grappler versus striker matchup. We have Ozumir, who is the knockout artist, 12 KOs or technical knockouts within his professional MMA career. And Paul Craig, who has arguably the most dangerous guard in the UFC. How I see this fight playing out is Paul Craig's probably going to get rocked, probably going to get almost finished, and then somehow the fight's going to get to the ground, whether that's Paul Craig pulling guard, whether that's both fighters randomly tripping the fight, ending up on the mat, Paul Craig somehow establishing full guard and then pulling off some crazy submission off of his back. So I'm going to go with the underdog here. I'm going to go with Paul Craig. The guy's got a ton of momentum right now. He's on a roll, and he just somehow has been finding ways to win fights. He gets rocked. He gets almost finished, but he can never be counted out. As mentioned, I think he has the most dangerous guard in the UFC, and I see him pulling off some crazy submission win again. So Paul Craig is the pick. That is it for this episode of the Unofficial Pre Fight Show. Enjoy the fights this weekend. We'll see you next time.